Mark and Emma Smith's family vacation was supposed to be a joyful escape, but when Emma was found lifeless in their hotel room, suspicion fell heavily on her own father. What really happened behind closed doors on that sunny beach getaway? The shocking truth about Emma's cause of death is finally revealed, and it will change everything you thought you knew. The Smith family's vacation started like any other, full of excitement and hope for a break from everyday life. Mark Smith, a 38-year-old construction worker, his wife Linda, and their 12-year-old daughter Emma had planned this trip for months. They chose a popular coastal resort known for its sunny beaches, warm weather, and family-friendly atmosphere. Emma, especially, had been counting down the days, dreaming of building sandcastles and swimming in the ocean. It was supposed to be a time for family bonding and happiness. But only a few days into the vacation, everything changed in the worst possible way. On a bright and busy afternoon, Emma was found unresponsive in their hotel room. Linda had gone out to grab some snacks, leaving Mark and Emma to rest after a morning at the beach. When Linda returned, she discovered that Emma was unconscious and immediately called for help. Hotel staff rushed to the room and called emergency services. Paramedics arrived quickly, but despite their efforts, Emma was pronounced dead at the scene. The sudden and tragic loss of Emma shocked everyone at the resort. Police were called in to investigate the circumstances surrounding her death. Mark Smith, being the only adult with her at the time, quickly became the focus of the investigation. Stories from neighbors and relatives began to surface, revealing a troubled family history marked by tension and occasional arguments between Mark and Emma. Some described Mark as a strict and sometimes harsh father, while others insisted he loved his daughter deeply. As the investigation unfolded, law enforcement officials worked tirelessly to piece together what had happened inside the hotel room. They examined the room for signs of struggle or violence, but nothing immediately stood out. There were no visible injuries on Emma's body, and the room appeared undisturbed. The lack of clear evidence only added to the mystery and raised more questions than answers. The resort itself was a bustling place, filled with tourists enjoying their vacations, unaware that such a tragedy was unfolding in one of the hotel rooms. Staff members were cooperative but visibly shaken by the events. The police secured the scene and began interviewing everyone who had been in contact with the Smith family. Witnesses spoke of hearing raised voices the night before, but were uncertain about the details. The community and media quickly caught wind of the story. News outlets painted a grim picture, focusing on Mark Smith and the rumors of domestic problems. Headlines suggested foul play, and the public opinion began to turn against Mark even before the full facts were revealed. The pressure mounted on the police to find answers quickly. Despite the chaos, the most important piece of the puzzle was still missing: the official cause of Emma's death. The autopsy was scheduled but delayed due to the high volume of cases in the region. This waiting period was agonizing for everyone involved. Friends and family were left wondering what could have caused such a sudden and tragic loss. Mark Smith was held in custody, accused of a crime he denied committing. His demeanor was calm but haunted, as he awaited the results that could either condemn or clear him. The entire family's future hung in the balance as the investigation continued to unravel. This was just the beginning of a long and complicated journey to uncover the truth behind Emma's death. The cause remained a mystery, and the world watched closely, desperate to learn what really happened during that fateful vacation. The days following Emma's death were filled with tension and uncertainty. Mark Smith remained in police custody, facing serious charges based largely on suspicion and the uneasy feelings surrounding the family's past. Detectives dug deeper into the Smith family's history, searching for any clues that might explain the tragedy. Neighbors and relatives were interviewed repeatedly, and rumors began to spread like wildfire. Some claimed they had witnessed heated arguments between Mark and Emma in the past. Others described Mark as a man struggling under pressure from work and family responsibilities. Yet no one could fully understand how such a happy vacation could turn into a nightmare. The media coverage was relentless. News outlets seized on the story, broadcasting details about the family's troubled past and the circumstances leading up to Emma's death. Public opinion was quick to judge, painting Mark as a potential perpetrator, even before the investigation had fully unfolded. The phrase "allegedly killed by Dad" echoed across headlines and social media, stirring emotions and fueling speculation. Mark's lawyer tried to defend his client's innocence, but the weight of public suspicion was heavy and unrelenting. Meanwhile, the police continued their work at the resort, examining every possible lead. They reviewed surveillance footage from the hotel's corridors and public areas, hoping to find any signs of foul play. Hotel employees were questioned about their interactions with the Smith family, but nothing suspicious was immediately discovered. Investigators also inspected the hotel room where Emma was found, searching for evidence of a struggle or signs of forced entry. The room was pristine, except for a few personal belongings scattered around. No indication of violence was visible. The delay in the autopsy results added to the mounting tension. Authorities explained that the forensic team was overwhelmed and that such cases required careful examination. This delay frustrated both the police and the family, who were desperate for answers. Speculation about the cause of death grew in the absence of official information. Some suggested poisoning, others suspected physical abuse. The community was left waiting, caught between fear and hope. During this period, Mark's background was scrutinized. Police checked for any history of violence, criminal activity, or mental health issues. His work colleagues described him as a hardworking man who rarely lost his temper. Friends recalled his pride in his daughter and his efforts to provide a better life for his family. Yet this positive testimony was often overshadowed by the darker stories that circulated online and in news reports. As the investigation continued, tension inside the Smith family grew. Linda struggled to cope with her daughter's death while trying to support her husband, who faced serious accusations. The family's private pain was now public, broadcast, and debated by strangers. Mark's legal team pushed for bail, arguing there was no physical evidence linking him to the crime. However, the prosecution insisted on keeping him in custody, citing the severity of the charges and the risk of flight. Uncertainty hung over everyone involved. Emma's death had shattered a family and sparked a community-wide conversation about justice, truth, and the dangers hidden behind closed doors. The police were determined to uncover the facts, but with no clear cause of death and no obvious suspects, the case remained frustratingly open. In the background, the autopsy report was finally being prepared. A crucial piece of the puzzle that would either confirm suspicions or change everything. Until then, the investigation was stuck in limbo, with more questions than answers and a growing sense of urgency to find the truth behind Emma's mysterious death. When the autopsy report finally arrived, it sent shockwaves through everyone involved in the case. The medical examiner's findings completely contradicted the initial assumptions that had fueled the investigation for weeks. Emma had not died from physical trauma, poisoning, or any form of violence. Instead, the cause of death was revealed to be a severe allergic reaction, and flaxes triggered by something she had ingested during the vacation. This new information dramatically changed the direction of the case and stunned the public. The report detailed how Emma's body had gone into a rapid and fatal reaction after exposure to an allergen. The medical examiner noted swelling of her throat and severe inflammation in her airways, classic signs of anaphylactic shock. There were no external injuries or signs of abuse. This finding completely challenged the earlier narrative, which had painted Mark Smith as a violent father. The autopsy also showed no traces of drugs or toxins in Emma's system, ruling out poisoning. It became clear that the tragedy was caused by a natural yet deadly medical condition. This revelation caught many by surprise, including the police, who had based much of their case on the idea of foul play, redirecting their investigation toward finding out what allergen had caused. Emma's reaction? The question was urgent. Had Emma unknowingly consumed something dangerous? Or had the allergen been accidentally introduced into her environment? Detectives turned their attention to the hotel's food service. They began reviewing menus, ingredient lists, and kitchen procedures, looking for any possible contamination. Hotel staff were interviewed about their handling of food allergens and their awareness of guest dietary restrictions. Investigators discovered that Emma's family had never informed the hotel of any food allergies before the trip, which complicated the matter. The hotel insisted that their kitchen followed strict allergy protocols, but the possibility of a mistake was now the focus of intense scrutiny. Further tests were ordered on food samples and kitchen equipment to identify any traces of common allergens like peanuts, shellfish, or dairy. Investigators also explored whether Emma had consumed any snacks or meals outside the hotel that might have triggered her reaction. This opened a wider net, examining local shops, restaurants, and even vending machines near the resort. The shift from criminal suspicion to medical investigation brought relief to Mark Smith, who was immediately cleared of suspicion related to violence or abuse. His legal team quickly filed for his release, using the autopsy report as strong evidence of his innocence. However, the public remained divided, with some struggling to accept the new explanation and others expressing sympathy for the family's devastating loss. The case also raised awareness about the dangers of undiagnosed allergies and the importance of communication between families and service providers. Experts pointed out that anaphylaxis can be sudden and fatal if not treated immediately. Questions arose about why Emma's allergy had not been identified earlier, and whether more precautions could have prevented her death. Despite the new findings, the investigation was far from over. Police and health officials continued to probe the hotel's role in the chain of events leading up to Emma's reaction. The search for answers grew more complex, involving not just legal authorities, but medical experts and food safety inspectors. Emma's tragic death had transformed from a suspected crime into a heartbreaking accident with lessons for families and businesses alike. The unexpected cause of death reminded everyone that sometimes the most dangerous threats are invisible, and that the truth can change everything we thought we knew. The story was far from finished, but the mystery of how Emma died was finally unveiled. With the shocking autopsy results shifting the investigation's focus, authorities began a thorough review of the resort's food safety and allergy protocols. Hotel management cooperated but faced growing pressure as questions mounted about their responsibility in the tragedy. Inspectors arrived to examine the kitchens, storage areas, and food preparation processes. Their goal was to uncover any lapses that might have allowed Emma's fatal allergen exposure. The investigation revealed troubling details. Although the hotel claimed to follow strict procedures, it became clear that communication between kitchen staff and servers was inconsistent. Allergens were not always clearly marked on menus. Some employees admitted they had only limited training on handling special dietary needs. There were reports that the kitchen sometimes prepared allergen-containing dishes alongside allergen-free meals, increasing the risk of cross-contamination. Further scrutiny focused on the meal Emma had eaten shortly before her reaction. According to hotel records and witness accounts, Emma had ordered a dish that was generally safe for most guests. But investigators suspected that a hidden ingredient or accidental contamination might have been present. Samples taken from the kitchen tested positive for traces of peanut protein, a common and potentially deadly allergen. This discovery was alarming because there was no indication that peanuts were part of Emma's meal. Hotel employees were interviewed extensively. Some revealed that the rush and high volume of orders during busy mealtimes sometimes led to mistakes. One worker confessed to occasionally ignoring allergy warnings during hectic shifts to keep up with demand. Others expressed guilt and sadness over the tragedy, admitting that they wished protocols had been stricter. The resort's management faced public backlash as families who had stayed there questioned the safety measures in place. Lawsuits were filed on behalf of Emma's family, claiming negligence and failure to protect guests with allergies. The resort promised to improve staff training, update menu labeling, and implement more rigorous kitchen procedures to prevent cross-contact. These steps were necessary to restore trust and ensure no other family would suffer a similar loss. At the same time, Mark Smith's legal team moved swiftly to secure his release. The new evidence from the autopsy and the hotel's food safety review dismantled the prosecution's case. Without any signs of abuse or trauma, and with the confirmed medical cause of death, charges against Mark were dropped. He was freed from custody but remained deeply affected by the ordeal. The experience had taken a heavy toll on him and his wife, Linda. The community's response was mixed. Some people felt relief that Mark was innocent and justice had been served. Others struggled to come to terms with the reality that Emma's death was caused by something so invisible and unpredictable. Local health officials used the case to raise awareness about food allergies and the importance of clear communication in public places. In the aftermath, the Smith family became advocates for allergy, education, and safety. They spoke publicly about Emma's story, hoping to prevent future tragedies. Their efforts inspired changes not only at the resort, but in other hospitality businesses across the region. The case also highlighted the importance of early diagnosis and allergy testing. Medical experts emphasize that many families are unaware of the severity of allergies, especially when symptoms have never been severe before. Emma's death was a heartbreaking reminder that even a single exposure could be fatal without immediate treatment. While the investigation officially closed, the impact of the tragedy continued to resonate. The resort's reputation was forever changed, and the Smith family's loss remained a powerful call for greater vigilance. In the end, the truth about Emma's death brought justice in a way no one expected. By exposing a hidden danger and pushing for safer environments for all, in the months that followed, more pieces of Emma's story came to light, shedding even greater clarity on the tragic chain of events. Medical records obtained during the extended investigation revealed that Emma had a mild allergy to peanuts that had never been formally diagnosed or documented. Her parents had noticed occasional mild reactions in the past, such as skin rashes or slight swelling, but had never sought professional testing or treatment. They had assumed these symptoms were minor and manageable, unaware that a severe reaction could strike suddenly and with deadly force. This revelation was both devastating and heartbreaking. It explained why Emma's allergic reaction during the vacation had been so severe and unexpected. Without a formal diagnosis or emergency medication like an epinephrine injector, Emma had no way to protect herself against the allergen. The discovery emphasized the critical importance of early allergy testing and awareness lessons that would become a cornerstone of the family's message moving forward. The Smiths, still grieving but determined to honor their daughter's memory, began working with local health organizations to raise awareness about undiagnosed allergies. They shared their story publicly to encourage parents to seek testing for their children and to push for better allergy education in schools and communities. Their advocacy helped spark conversations about the silent dangers many families face every day. Meanwhile, the resort underwent significant changes. In response to the investigation's findings and the resulting lawsuits, the hotel chain implemented comprehensive allergy safety programs across all its properties. These included mandatory staff training, clearer menu labeling, and stricter kitchen practices designed to prevent cross-contamination. The changes were welcomed by guests and health advocates alike, marking an important step towards safer travel experiences for people with allergies. The community, once divided and full of suspicion, began to heal. Mark and Linda Smith were slowly able to rebuild their lives, though the loss of Emma remained a constant shadow. The experience had changed them forever. They found some comfort in knowing that the truth had finally been uncovered, and that their daughter's death could serve as a warning and lesson to others. Reflecting on the entire case, it became clear how easily assumptions and appearances can mislead even the most thorough investigations. Initial suspicions of foul play had nearly destroyed an innocent man's life. The real cause, a hidden medical condition, had been invisible, till science and careful investigation brought it to light. It was a powerful reminder that truth often lies beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered with patience and open minds. Emma's story left a lasting impact far beyond the walls of the resort where she died. It highlighted the silent risks many people face and the vital importance of communication, education, and awareness. For families, it underscored the need to understand and respect allergies, no matter how mild they may seem. Though the cause of Emma's death was finally revealed, the pain of losing a child remains immeasurable. The Smith family's journey through suspicion, grief, and justice is a haunting reminder that tragedy can strike in the most unexpected ways. Their hope now is that no other family will have to endure what they did, and that Emma's story will save lives in the future. The case closed with clarity but also with a profound sadness. The truth had been found, but the cost was forever etched in the hearts of those left behind. Emma's memory lives on, not just in her family's love, but in the awareness and change her story inspired.